All right, we're going to go ahead and start off with our presenters. We have Travis here today from Melwood. We're going to go ahead and let him take the floor. Wherever you feel comfortable.
Probably up front or in the middle. All right.
Good morning. Thank you, Ashley and Adam, for letting me go first, because I think I've done a commitment today. My name is Travis. I'm with Melwood Veteran Services. And the primary service we offer out this way is going to be Operation Tahidu. It is a 5-day program for veterans or service members that have been diagnosed with or they're self-identifying PTSD, anxiety, depression, mild traumatic brain injury. We run men's, women's, and couples retreats. One of the women's retreats that we do run is focusing on military sexual trauma survivors. So, since 2017, the program's been around in existence since the end of 2014. It's free for veterans. They ran the program for about 2 years before they retooled it, brought it from mostly contractors to more in-house personnel. My current boss, Dave Blackledge, retired Brigadier General, who's brought on in January 2017 to we brought the program in-house. Since that time frame, we've run 15 retreats and had 146 people come through. So, things that we're primarily focusing on is what we consider underserved populations. So, two biggest ones we have found. Women veterans. The first 2 retreats we actually ran was a backlog, was a clearing backlog of women veterans. So that in turn, our first 2 retreats we ran were for women. And then one of the first events I went to as an outreach coordinator was the Joint Women's Leadership Symposium down in Norfolk 2 years ago. And so we've always had more women applying to the program than men. I mean, like 70% of the people applying are women. So that's one of the things that led us to starting. So when we saw that, most of the women that were coming through were saying that their PTSD was not from combat. So saying from being assaulted while they were in the military. So we took that, we identified that in May last year. 6 months later, we ran our first pilot for an MST-specific retreat. Very successful. Fortunately, there's a huge demand for it. And then we turned around and ran 2 more this past March, and we have another one scheduled for November this year. The other population that we found is something called, it's just being recognized and being identified by the VA, something called moral injury. So, has anybody heard of this before? Okay, I see some nods around the place. So moral injury by definition is an injury that's soul. Alright, so, or something that goes against our Western way of life, our values that we were brought up with. So, a classic example that I tell is, alright, guys in Iraq. He shoots a guy, the kid comes over and picks up the weapon. Kid picks up that weapon and starts pointing at this guy's friend. Not himself, because if the weapon was pointed at you, you might take the hit. But you won't let him shoot your friend. What do? You drop the kid, of course. You have to. You have to in order to protect your friend, your squad mate there. But what does that do to you afterwards? So that's one example. Another example that I've seen way too many times is a woman was assaulted while she was in the military. She does the right thing. She reports it. Goes up to the chain of command. Well, now she's a troublemaker. And now it's because most women they know their attackers, or they're in the same unit as their attackers. So now they've lost that person's services, job, and then also the person who committed the assault, and now, like I said, labeled a troublemaker, say it's not substantiated, now she's kicked out on the other nominal discharge. I've seen this way too many times. I'm hearing this already. So what does that do to this person? So, I mean, there's the institutional betrayal from the system not treating them badly, plus the assault. So, we just had a huge retreat, and there was a chaplain there, and he'd been, my boss brought this up, and all of a sudden, the discussion went, it went huge, and bottom line, this guy ended up crying his eyes out, 10 years of stuff bottled up, because people had come to him in his capacity as a chaplain, telling him stuff, and then the command was at one point leaning on him to testify. I don't have the full story, and to be honest with you, we don't need it. But watching this guy, the dam bust, it was very good for him, and hopefully he can get the treatment he needs, now that he has identified the problem. So that's part of the thing, is knowing what you're dealing with. So, with that, I'm going to open up to questions.
I heard you say something about sometimes you're getting discharges that are under-honorable. These women, after going through these traumas, now when you encounter a woman veteran who has dealt with that, you help them to get their discharge upgraded? And
we are not going to referring them to organizations that can, because there's way too many really good organizations that are doing discharge upgrades, VA initial claims. If I ever run into somebody that needs their initial claim, I have a Rolodex.
So you got somebody, right? You can give them
right
away.
Wherever they're at, because we do have people coming in from all over the country. So this is, if we have a veteran from Texas, I got my Texas folder, or Georgia, or California, wherever. So.
On that, do you have you used the new, it's the DoD VA discharge upgrade tool?
No.
Okay, so I will, if I haven't already sent that to you, have I? Yeah, so it's actually, it's very user-friendly.
Great, okay.
Yeah, it's, again, just a joint program, and it's specifically for, for military sexual trauma,
Okay,
under honorable discharges, for members that were discharged prior to the repeal, don't ask, don't tell. So yeah, so if we can, I think that's a very good, easy, user-friendly tool. I mean, you still have to go through the process, with DoD and all the paperwork, but at least the initial step has been made much, much easier.
So one thing that we're seeing with the age of the veterans that are coming through, this is not stuff that happened last week. All right, so the women that are coming through, have been out, I would say they're in their early 50s is probably if I had to stereotype it, that's where I'm going to say it comes out, because having been married 21 years and listening to my facilitators and listening to some of these women's stories, so what seems to happen, again, stereotypes, this is a stereotype, women will take care of things, take care of her family, the kids are now out of the house, the husband, if there's a husband in the picture, the husband's squared away, now I get to take just a minute for myself, just a minute, and you've had this issue, she's had this issue festering, and it starts bubbling up. So, that's where we're seeing it. So, and that's also with our people that are coming through for PTSD. They're coming through, it's not, I say our youngest veteran we've ever had come through was 20, but she was an outlier. I would say most are 35 to 45 for the guys, and then 40 to 50, 40 to 55 for women. So, oh, sorry. Yes, sir.
Is there a cost?
$0. Sorry, you have to get to the airport.
Okay.
So if they're coming, yes, we're running this retreat in Southern Maryland. So Charles County is right across the river from Quantico. From here, from the veterans that you all touch, we're going to expect them to drive. So that would be the cost. So when we're trying to put something in place with a stipend. We're not going to pay government mileage. We can't afford it. I can't get somebody 52 cents a mile, 52 point whatever it is. But $50. Here's $50. Once you get there, that should cover gas, right? I'm hoping it's a 2-hour drive. So yes. Anyone else?
I think it's awesome what you guys are doing. I think it's great. This perfect example of this us working together. And
Absolutely.
in 2 seconds, we got somebody saying, "Hey, here's this tool that can make what you're trying to do more effective."
Yeah.
And boom, it's happening right now.
So, yes.
And just, can you give us an example of some of the activities that you do?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So schedule to the group. So, I mean, we'll sit down on Sunday and go through a planning session, look over our screening documents, like, okay, what are the issues with this group, or what trends are we seeing? Is it all isolation? Is it trust issues? Is it what does this group have that's coming in? So typically on Mondays, a travel day, so we run Monday through Friday. Monday's a travel day. We'll collect everybody from the airport, or have them arrive, usually down at Reagan National, about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll get everybody on the van and head down to Southern Maryland. Monday night was a very quiet landing dinner, and then we'll use them called full value contract. So we put these big giant Post-its on the wall, and everybody put a different topic: safety, being here, different topics, and everybody has to go through and just write what that means to them, and they sign it down at the bottom. So it is their group's contract with each other of what they're going to spend this week on. Tuesday, some of the tools that we usually use, low ropes courses. High ropes course, we've partnered with Heroes on the Water to do some kayaking at 3 or 4 of our retreats. Occasionally we'll go into DC to do a tour of memorials. This is just stuff that we have done. Equestrian stuff we've used both PATH and Agala for equestrian. So, I mean, but I'm not a big equestrian person, but the big main difference from what I understand with PATH, you can get on the horse, and Agala, you absolutely do not get on the horse. So if anybody have anything different on that? Okay. So, but that's some of the stuff that we do. And believe it or not, where we make our most money is on the low ropes course, I think. I mean, high ropes, at that point by the week, they're doing very well, but low ropes is where we're doing a lot of, it's a lot of emotional work and a lot of digging into stuff. But one thing that we don't do, absolutely literally do not do, is we're not going backwards. We don't tell war stories. I don't care if you were knee-deep in hand grenade pins. I don't. So it's, because one of the stories that still gets me every time I hear it, one of our first retreats, the guy who was Air Force E6, I don't even know what was that, Tech Sergeant, I think?
Tech sergeant.
Okay. This guy was broken. He was, just sitting there and head down, and I'm like, wow, this guy, what's going on here? Well, during the course of getting to know him, found out he did not, he was in our island for a while, one tour, didn't really leave the base, and I was like, he must have got mortared or rocketed or something. No, the base didn't get, it was on one of these big super files that you could, from the center of it, you couldn't reach, like Liberty. I mean, if you were in the center of Liberty, you could not, the mortars couldn't reach the center of it. This guy's job in the Air Force there, he was the convoy scheduler. Okay? He was the one putting names into seats on the convoys in 2007 when they were going out. Okay? Just about every convoy got attacked. He put people's names down and they died because of that. Right? So just the hurt that was inside of him was radiating off of him. So, and we actually got a call from this VA psychologist down in Oklahoma, wherever. He was out in the Midwest somewhere. She called us and like, hey, what did you guys do? I've been working with this guy for months, trying to move past some issues here, and you did this in a week. How is this? And so my mom was up there explaining the program. She's like, this is great. And we've since gotten some recommendations from her. And and I have stories. I think we're up to about 150 people. I have 100 stories like this that I can come up and tell you about people. So, yes, sir.
If that worked out so well, why is it that you have decided not to hear other people's stories? Or I'm not understanding.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, so he was able to share.
Okay, so that came out during the course of things. So what we're not doing is, I don't want to, and that's something that I found out afterwards. I'm not going to, why we don't have everybody tell everybody's story. we're there for a week. Actually, 4 days, 4.5 days. It sounds like a lot of time, but I mean, you're sleeping for 1/3 of the time, right? Every day you sleep for 1/3, eat, movement, all this other thing, and now you're down to just several hours. I mean hours of programming. In a week, we cannot go back for the 15 or 16 guys or 12 women or whatever. We cannot go all the way back and then we'll do them justice and do it right. So, so the next thing, that's one point. And then, okay, say I am a Green Beret Special Forces Airborne Ranger that did all this stuff, and then you are this other guy who was a supply clerk that was mortared 15,000 times while he was in his tour. This guy's telling about stories when he was doing this, and this other person might be like, well, if he's having it, why am I even here? My trauma is not worthy. I should be able to suck this up and take this. The human mind, we don't understand the human mind. We don't, and there's no cure for PTSD yet. But, so everything affects people differently. So that's, does that answer your question, sir? Okay, all right. And I'm sorry if I've been digging into this, telling some stories here, and it gets a little messy. I mean, that's one thing that with mental health, for veterans' mental health, it's not easy, it's not clean, it's not pretty. So there's a lot of good organizations out here, and there's a need for this, okay? So, I mean, everybody has the picture of the veteran that looks like a linebacker with the below-the-knee amputation, and he's sitting there looking like that with a silhouette. Everybody know which one I'm talking about, right? There's a lot of organizations that will take veterans with physical disabilities, and okay, great. One ramp, got it. One vehicle, wheelchair accessible, got it. Renovations in the house, got it, okay. $500,000 spent on veteran help. This guy won't need any more help for the rest of his life. It's done. I mean, he's set, or she is set. It's simple. It's just money. Whereas anything mental health related is going to be an ongoing process that's going to take years and years and infrastructure and people, and yeah, it's a long-term commitment. So, sorry, I'm on this soapbox. Got on my soapbox here. My apologies. So, does anybody have anything else? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.